Ladies, gentlemen, I'm delighted to have with you Dr. John Demartini, someone I've spoken to before and we had fantastic response to with regards to your wealth building. John is a specialist in axiology, and for those of you that are wondering, what on earth is that? That is the study of values and human behavior. I have to say early and get this out up front. I mean, he's written many books. He's got a CV that actually, to do full justice to, would take quite an extended period. I will mention the one book, How to Make $1 Million and Still Go to Heaven, because it's just a classic and super, super catchy. But there's many others like it. I don't easily give what's the word, referrals, but this is someone I've actively went and attended and paid for his program and considered it to be an outstanding investment. I don't know how he keeps going. He's like the Duracell bunny. Man, we were up until 1 or maybe going on 2 the one evening. He gives you his all. He has you go real, real deep. He actually pushed me hard mentally, personally, and the whole room. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's called the breakthrough. Some of the best moments and some of the best insights come when that iron has been beaten really hot with the blacksmith's hammer, and he takes you truly, truly in there. And it got me back grounded. And it's one of the most important things that you need. But before me getting any further and deeper, welcome, John, and delighted to have you on our YouTube channel and in front of our community and going out.
Well, thank you for having me. This looks like it's going to be fun.
It is indeed. It is indeed. Delighted to be back for part 2. So let's get on with it straight away. We actually polled our community, and I also put out a pre-YouTube on this, just saying I'm having you back. What would people most like to ask? As I've mentioned, we've got people that are interested in building their wealth, John, and this is a topic you know a lot about, both through trading and investment, which particularly on the trading side involves leverage, and there's some golden rules and gems that you have that I'm looking forward to getting out. But before we go straight into that, values. Why are the values and getting aligned before you start a really important endeavor such a key thing that everybody should be focusing on?
Well, every human being, regardless of gender or age or culture, lives moment by moment through a set of values, a set of priorities, things that are most to least important in their life. And whatever is highest on a person's values, they are spontaneously inspired from within to do. They are considered more intrinsic. And whatever is lower on your value list, that's more extrinsic and requires external motivation, incentivization, or something to get you to do it. So you typically procrastinate, hesitate, and frustrate on lower values, and typically are disciplined, reliable, and focused on higher values. If it's really important to us, we do it, in other words. We've got a big enough reason for doing something, we do it. So whenever we set goals, whatever they are, in any area of our life, particularly financial, if we do not really truly have a value on wealth building, we'll typically procrastinate, hesitate, frustrate, and need reminding and motivation to keep us doing the action steps that we've just learned. So often people go to a seminar, they learn all kind of ideas, but they don't act on it because they don't see how those actions are helping them fulfill their highest values directly. And every decision you make, every perception you make, every action you take is based on your values. So every decision you make is based on what you believe at that moment will give you the greatest advantage over disadvantage to what you value most. So values are underlying all human behavior. And I always say that money circulates through the economy from those who value it least to those who value it most. So if you don't really value wealth building, if you don't really value serving people, if you don't really value mastering the trading, mastering the investments, then you'll procrastinate, hesitate, frustrate, and you'll need incentives and reminders, and you'll keep forgetting, and you won't be on the sharp cutting edge of what's possible for you financially.
Yeah. And for people that's pure gold. And the one thing I love about your message is that it's so consistent. It always comes out the same, but I always seem to take something else out of it each time I hear it. Can people that may potentially, because I get a lot of people that are coming into me and they have an objective in mind, but they may think it's wealth building, but actually it's the excitement of the trade. It's the fact that maybe their business is a bit boring or their work is a bit boring. And yeah, it's nice to have more money, but it's more a transient thing because it means they can pursue their music career and everything else. Can people lift a value such as wealth building from being somewhere in the middle where it's just something that's transient so that they can achieve something else to actually making wealth building an important aspect of their life standalone? Is it possible to restack the order of that priority stack if I can?
Yes, I have helped many, many people do exactly that. People that no matter what they did, they were banging their head against the wall trying to get ahead financially. And even if they passed large sums of money through their hands, they couldn't keep it because they kept spending it on things that were more valuable to them. And as long as you have a higher value on buying consumables that depreciate in value instead of buying assets that put money in your pocket and give you a return on investment, you're not going to get ahead. You're going to be working as a slave for money all your life instead of having money, be a master of money and have it work for you. So what you do is you take the very precise action steps that generate wealth. Now, this depends on what you're doing. You could be building a business to generate wealth. You could be mastering trading to generate wealth.
Yeah.
You could be mastering real estate, rental properties and development to do it. Whatever pathway of wealth building, and there are numerous, the very action steps that have proven to work consistently in that arena,
Yeah.
those action steps stacked up, one by one, we need to take those action steps and ask a very important question. How specifically is doing this action step, not the vague, broad generality being wealthy, but the very action steps that have proven to work to get you in motion, to get you into the wealth building, how specific are those action steps going to help you fulfill your top 3 highest values or your top value? And you need to answer that. And the more you answer that, the more the glial cells will neuroplastically remodel the brain. And now those actions will rise up higher in the values, and you'll have an increasing probability of taking that action over alternative actions. And then you're going to end up walking your talk instead of limping your life.
Yes.
Because many people say, I want to be financially independent.
Yeah.
Thousands of people say that in seminars. But a very small percentage of people do because their hierarchy of values are about immediate gratification instead of long-term wealth building.
Yeah, absolutely, and I love that too. So it brings me on to a saying that I almost wanted to jump in and help finish your sentence because I've consumed a lot of your material. The quality of your life is also dictated by the quality of the questions you ask, and if that goal alignment is wealth building, then each day you need to focus on those elements that will help you with that. You've got to ask the right questions. I'm going to just I've got a stylus pen here, and I'm going to make some notes. I really like that. So couple of things that I've asked my guys to do when they come to me, and we go through that first series, as I say, and we're going to be recording our own content for the trading program, and I refer them away to this key element of pre-game being the game. That is part of it, is the axiology and the impact you've made here with me. They should write 200 reasons to succeed on the activity and the objective. And the work really starts after those first 30 and 50, which are quickly scurried down. And they are key to the foundation of the journey. And I find many get to that point where they get the first 30 or 50, but they never refer back and finish the full 200 list. And the work truly starts when it's kind of that reference I was making when we were kept up at 2 at night and getting tired and exhausted in the breakthrough experience, and the questions kept coming and squeeze. It's when you really start to squeeze that lemon that the pips start to come out. Can you give your take on why that might be a very important foundational element for all the guys to try push through and get those 200 reasons, and also for them not to be consumption-based things, buy a Ferrari, do that, but something that has more wealth-building aligned type objectives as well?
Well, people confuse lifestyle with wealth building.
Yeah.
Um, I learned a long time ago that if I wanted to have the lifestyle that I wanted, I had to first focus on the wealth building.
Yes.
Because if I built the wealth, the lifestyle takes care of itself. I made it a policy that I wouldn't raise my lifestyle unless I raised my savings, investments, and taxes equal amounts.
Yes.
So I made it a rule that I would moderate it one. And what's happened is today, because I accelerated the wealth building, I can have pretty well the lifestyle that I want. But people want the lifestyle quick, which actually erodes the speed in which you actually get the financial independence. So every decision you make is based on the stacked associations in the brain that you already have.
Yes.
And so if you're not acting right now, and every dollar you have that's available to go into investments is not going into investments, and you're not focusing on serving clients to generate more income and focusing on making the business efficient or the trading efficient to get the maximum money going into investments, you really don't have a care or a focus on investing. You have a focus on whatever the other things are. So every decision you make is based on the things that has the most advantage over disadvantage. So that's the reason why you're stacking up those advantages. And it's when you go to the point where you go, I can rattle these first 50 off, those are ones you already know.
Yeah.
And you aren't making that decision yet. So it's not the ones you know, it's the ones you don't know.
Yeah.
So that's why going in there and stacking, because people can usually write down 30 reasons for doing it, and it goes pretty easy. When it gets to 50 and 70 and 100, they go, blank. It's not until they have enough to override the options that they have with their actions. And that's why I tell them about 200. The reason I've done that is when I've done that with people, their decisions, their actions, their perceptions change. And now all of a sudden they're doing things they never saw themselves doing, and they do it spontaneously. They don't fight it. It's not because they need motivation to do it. They just do it.
Yep.
Now, I also believe that it's wise to automate every possible thing that you could have an emotion about. So
Yes.
I've been automating my investments for 36 years. I just took all the emotions out, made a commitment to do something, set it up structurally, electronically. It's taken care of. So I can't sit there and should I do it or should I not? There's no way I can interfere with it. It's just done. And I find that the machine doing it doesn't sit there and wrestle with whether I should do it this week or not. Just do it. And so first you get the mindset, then get the automated structure in place. And I assure you, when you force it into that structure and you force it into buying your assets, when you manage money wisely, you get more money to manage. That's been my observation for 36 years.
Yeah, I absolutely get that. And I love the fact also that the paying yourself in terms of your savings and your wealth building has to come first, and it is done on autopilot. It's a non-negotiable. It's a contract you've entered into with self, and it is taken straight out at the very, very inception before any purchases, consumption, or even capital investment that might forward your activities. You've got to first pay yourself. And something you used to say before, have an escalator in that as well, because the whole game is the power of compound interest, which I think Warren Buffett once referred to as, the seventh or the eighth wonder of the world. That makes it turns slow dough, which I call making slow money, in the long run to being the sustainable wealth building path versus the fast dough, which is the trading with the leverage. We'll come a bit more on that, but what's your take on the escalating and the getting compound interest on your own side?
Well, I'm the one that started the force accelerated saving and the force accelerated investment technique, FATE and FAST. And that has been the most significant thing that I ever did in my financial building. Wealth building. That was the far above. I just kept doubling. I kept increasing my investments every quarter, 10%, whether I thought I could do it or not. I just automated it where I had no choice, but it's going to go up, which doubles every year. So it goes from 1,000 to 2,000 to 4,000 to 8,000 to 16,000, 32,000, 64,000, 128,000, 256,000. Just keeps going up every 2 years, the doubling amount that you're putting into investments.
Yeah.
And I was amazed at what it did to attracting opportunities to build the brand, grow the business, attract opportunities in many ways. So that was a commitment that I'm not going to have to rate on just compound interest. I'm actually going to accelerate faster than any compound interest can work.
Yep.
I'm going to do compound interest on top of that.
Yep.
And that's what led me to have financial independence. But also, there is a law in the universe that was developed by Clausius in 1859 called the law of entropy. It's a thermodynamic law. And anything that's not organized automatically accelerates its disorder. And when it comes to wealth building, money circulates through the economy from where money is managed with disorder to where it's managed with order. So whoever has the most order with money gets the money. Whoever has their financial house in order and has a high value on it and structures it and automates it, they're the one that's going to get the money. So it's not only about paying yourself first. It's about putting money into order before it is taken away from you in disorder. Just like if you don't fill your day with high priority actions that inspire you, it fills up with low priority distractions that don't. If you don't put your money into investments that are pre-thought out with foreplanning, with the executive center, it'll automatically have unexpected bills that will consume with entropy that potential to save and invest. So you don't want to even take the risk of that and saying, well, if there's any left over, I'll begin to save and invest. That is guaranteed not to work.
Tomorrow never comes.
You have to pay yourself first. Yeah. The wealthies always still learn to do that. And then what happens is you attract more money to pay for everything else. And that was a gold mine when I put that into operation. And I've helped thousands of people do that. And the people that do that, and they just go, why didn't I know this since childhood? Yeah. Because really, you don't get taught this in school.
No.
You get this taught by some mentor like yourself, or you eventually learn it through trial and error. And it's wiser to know that. But when you start to automate it and you start to force structure it, and you start to there's no option, no turning back. And now you go commit to serving people or mastering the trades or mastering the thing that you're doing. Amazing stuff happens wealth-wise.
I love that. And I'm actually going to re-emphasize it and just restate it in my own words. Essentially, what we just heard here is by actually, putting it in as the first wedge in the door, paying yourself, and also having an escalator in it, not only does it grow and compound, but actually it forms a natural accelerant to your ability to attract new wealth. And the converse of not doing it and saying, well, I'll have whatever residual is left, sees that there's actually never residual left. And in fact, you may even go into debt for other reasons and other things. So you actually, by respecting money and doing forced savings, attracting further money towards yourself, whilst not doing it, you are almost certainly dispelling it, and you are being one of the people that money flows from or to. And you are putting yourself in one of those two categories by not doing that. That's just really, really powerful. I'm going to jump in at our question 3 here, John.